Welcome to our Monday Tesla trading video, the first one in 2025, a very decisive year in the history of Tesla and probably the history of the world. As you know, I'm very bullish on Tesla long term. We have a long-term price target of over 11,000 now with the updated risk. You can check it out in my other video on the financial model for Tesla. In these Monday videos, we are looking at the trading week ahead and asking ourselves, what can we do to generate alpha above a 100% Tesla position? So the thesis is very simple. If Tesla is really going that much up in the next 5 years, I project over 90% CAGR, so average annual returns, for a 100% Tesla position or portfolio. The question is, isn't that like shooting fish in a barrel? Isn't that something where we should not just be happy with our 90% a year, but trying to make alpha? In other words, if you trade a stock, but you get a cheat sheet that basically tells you that stock is going to end up at 11,000 in 5 years, do the math. It becomes much easier to actually generate winning trades because you know in what direction it goes long term, and the direction is very significant. So that is the basis for doing these weekly trading exercises. And I will go into it in a different video with a more in-depth strategy that I'm working on right now, how we actually describe that strategy. Where you have a core position that was 80, 90, 100% of your portfolio. And then around that core position, you're putting on leveraged trades. And all we need to do over time to win, I can give you a little sneak preview here. All we need to do to actually win in this operation is that we win across a very limited number of actually, uptrend periods. So here is how I explain that. If we make it the objective throughout 2025 to capture that upside, let's say Tesla goes up 60%, maybe it goes up 90%, who knows, right? But it will, in my opinion, go up a lot. If you buy and hold, if you're a buy and hold investor, you have this base return. Here's January 1st, here's December 31st, 2025, you have 60%. If you are able to catch the stock on the uptrends with a leveraged additional position, let's say 4x leverage, and you do this a few times, you're easily adding 600% alpha. Just to repeat that, if this is 60% in total, but you catch this, and you catch this uptrend, and you catch this uptrend, and this uptrend with a 4x leverage, you're ending up roughly here. So this is a very big difference, right? If you have $100,000 in Tesla, you're ending up here with 160,000 end of the year. But here you're ending up, at 500,000. So this makes a very big difference. And of course, then we always have these discussions with especially my fundamentally oriented friends. And most of my friends are like fundamental analysts in Tesla. Look at even what the big ones are saying, Stephen McRyan and Fazad, like all of them are saying, hands off the technical analysis, this is like terrible. But the reason it's worth actually dealing with technicals, even for a big bull long-term buy and hold investor, is because you're adding that much alpha if you do it right. Of course, if you catch it on the downside, you're basically destroying your entire returns. This is a very dangerous game, and you need to know how you do this. And that is kind of the purpose of the exercise here for the weekly trading videos. Can we learn how to do this very effectively? And why am I sharing this? Because I'm building a community with you guys, the reality engineering community. That's a whole different topic, but where we are basically pooling our brains and resources to come up with the best trades each week on Tesla to figure out, are we confident here? How confident can we be about the direction of the stock? Maybe we can't be confident. Maybe we can, and how we actually tackle that. So in order to explain how this works, let me just explain very quickly why we want to set this up and how we are going to set it up. So as I said, the key why this might very well work is because Tesla in 2025 and the years ahead, trading that stock is like shooting fish in a barrel because you have the cheat sheet. My model, other people's models, Søren Bashir, for example, and other people who are very good technical fundamental analysts, we all come more and more to the same conclusions on different pathways that, we are talking about a 10 to 12 to $15,000 stock price in 2030. So everyone who has a good understanding of the stock comes to similar conclusions, and no one cares if it's 10,000 or 15,000. It's somewhere up there, which means a very significant multiple because of the robot revolution, because of the robot taxi revolution. And of course, underlying this entire Tesla master plan to take over the world is something that Tesla didn't even really invent. It's AGI, right? Tesla is sitting on top of the artificial intelligence wave. They are the one company that can vertically integrate and capitalize the most on AI of all companies in the world. And so as long as AI is not fake news, as long as AI becomes AGI this or next year and ASI soon, as long as that is happening, you can be sure that Tesla is going to capture that in robots and robot taxis and drive and capture a huge share of future AI value. So if that is true, we are shooting fish in a barrel, because then we already know it's going up. So all we need to figure out, to go back to this chart, all we need to figure out is how do we actually capture these little upsides here? And how do we jump ship before it corrects again? Right? It goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. But if the trend is so much up, it's much easier than normally to capture these uptrends. We need to figure out how we build a team like the Avengers, a community. I do it on X, Reality and Tesla Reality Engineers. You can apply to the group. You have to disclose how many shares you trade and what your specialty is. I'll go into the specialties in a second. And if we do this right, we will catch these upsides and avoid the downsides, and we are talking about significant alpha. Okay? So the idea is we do all of that with a weekly trading horizon, these leverage positions we take on, right? A weekly trading horizon. Normally I just look ahead a week because you can't do much more. Of course, it's important to anticipate some fundamental and macro and technical aspects. You weight by confidence. So you're not just saying, is it going to go up or sideways or down? You also have to say, how confident are you about that? And I translate this into a trade card or trading card. Here's how this looks like. This is all work in progress. I just want to share it with you guys. So a trading card needs to condense all the different dimensions and insights we have into the stock for each week into a simple trading card that tells us what the central hypothesis, the bottom line is that we can execute on. So this trading card has to contain the direction. Do we think this is an up week? It's a sideways week? Is it a down week? We have to put in some lows and highs, right? For example, we believe right now, this week, 410 is probably good resistance on the downside. 380 is like if it really drops through the floor, what is the next resistance? On the high side, what is the resistance for 440, and what is the really big resistance if it would go through the roof? It's probably 480, right? That's my current hypothesis. I'm not too great in technical analysis. We want to beef that and ramp this up, the know-how and precision of that, and I explain in a second how, but that's what you want. Then you want to, so here you have your thesis. You're basically saying this week is an up week, and that is actually my thesis for this week. I think it will be an up week. I think the lows are these two resistance lines. I think the highs are these resistance lines. So we're aiming at 435 or something most likely to end up the week. And the conviction level, very important. What's your conviction? If it's none, you have this theory, but you say, you know what? I'm 51% sure I'm right and 49% that I'm not right. That's basically none. If it's none, don't put on leveraged positions because you have a gut feeling, but you're very unsure about it. Then you have low, medium, high. My conviction this week is medium to high, more on the high side. I think after the action we have seen last week, this is a week where I'm, on a bullish scale, I'm 8 bullish that I'm right about the up direction. So it's a 20% chance that this goes wrong. And then you have an exit strategy. So what would break the thesis? I have to get better here, and we should discuss that. But basically, if you have on an up week with only 4 trading days, today, if it would have been down, I wouldn't care too much. But if it goes up and then goes down too much, I think you're breaking this trend. Potentially, you have to watch out. Or if there's a fundamental or macro event that is negative, right? So these trading cards are pure gold if we get them right more than we get them wrong. Very simple. So basically the big prize of this exercise will be trading cards that are correct. I mean, this is like a glimpse into the future. This is like your crystal ball. Only if your crystal ball is wrong, you're making big mistakes. If you get this crystal ball right, then you will make 600, 700, 1000% a year very easily. Well, with zero problems. Of course, getting them right, that's the holy grail. How do we do that? So here's my theory about that. In order to be the best traders of Tesla in the world, we pool our brains and resources and become very smart about it. How do we do that? Well, we create 4 groups of you guys, right? You join the group on X and we pool our minds. And the first group has 1 mission per week, right? On Saturday, you go through all the smart guys on X. I already accumulated some of them. Who are the smartest technical analysts, not fundamental, technical analysts who look at charts and have reasonable thesis, hypotheses about the next week, right? There are a whole bunch of people we are discussing actually in the X group. Who are the best technical traders of Tesla in the world on YouTube on X? And let's go to them. Let's pull them in the group. Or if they don't have time or don't want to participate, some do want to participate. Some we still have to ask. But all of you guys can basically go there and just harvest the public information they put out, right? If they put out, so for example, Peter DiCarlo is a smart guy. He does technical analysis, right? Then we have the great Matsby is someone who does great analysis. Then we have, what's the name? Investment Answers. Then we have Vince, right, of Vol 888. So we have a bunch of cool people who do technical analysis. If we look at them, the technical group's mission is, what is your take on Tesla this week from a technical perspective? And your job is not to do technical analysis. Your job is to aggregate the best technical analyses and say, well, there are basically 3 theses in the room, but all of them say it's bullish, the resistance is similar, technical is a green, right? So we basically imagine you have a round table and you have the technical group, and that says, okay, here, technically, this looks very good. The second group we need is the macro group. The macro group doesn't look at Tesla. It only looks at the markets, the NASDAQ, the S&P, and so on. And basically aggregates, again, the best technical and fundamental analysts of the market. They also put together, similar to the fundamental group that comes, that I will explain in a second, the macro group actually puts together a list of macro catalysts. So we want to know, this week, what are the big announcements? Is there CPI inflation coming out? Does the Fed give a speech? Is there other stuff, fundamental macro? On the technical level, how does the chart look like of NASDAQ and S&P, the 2 relevant, charts for Tesla? Are they weak? Are they strong? Right? What about politics that affect macro? Is Trump going to announce something? Is there inauguration? And is inauguration day bullish? Will they announce Bitcoin stuff, right? Is Bitcoin correlated to this whole thing? So that group every week has to put down the macro report. Group 2, macro, here is what's happening this week in macro. And what is our bottom line for the markets? Are the markets going to go up or down? What is the most likely? How confident are we? Then you have a fundamental group. That's easy for us. I can do that, but I still need you guys' help probably to be really good. Fundamentally, I'm working on a quantified risk table for catalysts. So group 3 has to watch out. What are the most likely or the probabilities for fundamental catalysts coming out this week, both negative and positive? One way of doing that, for example, look at the Model Y announcement, a Juniper launch. That has, I think, a 25% chance of being launched next week. Why 25%? Because I think it has nearly a 99% chance in January to be launched worldwide. So each remaining week has like a 25% chance that Tesla comes out, boom, website updated, order the new Model Y, the best car in the world, most sold car in the world. Very important. If that thing looks amazing and has all these amazing new features, it's probably a positive catalyst. Same for Optimus. Will there be a new Optimus 3 video leaking? What are the odds for that next week? I can go into the probabilities for that, but probably 5% every week from now to when we are very sure it's going to happen. 5%. What about FST announcements? So the fundamental group can basically put together a bunch of catalysts, overlay the probabilities, and then basically say the probability that next week we see a type 1, like a strong catalyst coming out, is whatever, 36%. So we know, okay, that's good. And then finally, we have the geopolitical group. That's also something I can cover easily. That is Elon's involvement in Great Britain, in German elections, in all over the world, China. So Elon's political activities, is there anything very important happening that is very close to Elon? For example, the German elections end of February, where he gets super involved. A win in Germany would be a huge win for Elon. That can include certain US Elon political topics that are not standard macro topics, right? And so that group, that's probably the least important group of these. I think the technical is the most important group. Macro second most important, and we have the biggest deficits here. Fundamentals, just your baseline. We always have to watch out. Is there some crazy things coming? And then if we do all of that, you pool the groups, you have central coordination in the middle, and you have an informed, intelligent discussion. You say like, okay, what does that mean? Technical looks green. All the technical experts say we are, setting up for a bull run this week. Great. The macro guys say, well, the markets are a little unclear, but 10 bullish. So less confidence, but also positive this week, for example. And I'm winging this a little bit. I would like to be much more sophisticated with groups here. And then fundamental group, well, we have a constant like 30% chance in January to have some significant positive fundamental news. Fundamental also has to always give us a heads up for earnings. Not that anyone forgets about earnings, but they have to say, here's an earnings event. We think it's going to be positive, whatever they say. And then the group 4 says, okay, here are elections. Here's like crazy things happening in Canada. British prime ministers being pushed out by Elon, whatever, something like that. And then in the middle, we put it all together and say, well, the fundamental guys say there's earnings coming up. You never hold leveraged positions through earnings. So even if the group 3 is very bullish on earnings, you say, no, we are not putting on leveraged trades in earnings, too risky. So this week or on Wednesday, we take off the position, for example. And that sounds all trivial, but I tell you, there's so many catalysts here. Very important that we professionalize that. And so I think the main group to look at is technical, fundamental. They have basically the big red flags where we need to get out of the trade, and so on and so forth. So that's kind of the scenario. And I think everyone who participates here, who has a significant Tesla position, could benefit tremendously. One golden rule of this whole thing that I want to establish very upfront is no one pays any money to anyone. That's dangerous, right? Because if you pay money, if I pay you money, you pay me money, whatever, someone pays someone money, even membership fees, even little fees on Patreon or whatever, this all can be construed as financial advice legally, even if you have disclaimers and sign stuff. No, if you pay people and they give you any kind of information, it could be advice. Also, it introduces like a skewed incentive. I don't want to be in a position where I make more money off you guys through some membership fee if I get more viewers or something. I think we need a pure play where everyone in this group and everyone who works on this can only make money by just having winning trades. I can only make money off you if you provide me with superior information. And the same the other way around. You can only make money off me by listening to me and thinking I'm right or not. So the real value generation, financial value generation, comes through us putting our heads together and picking the right people to listen to and being very smart and becoming the world's best Tesla trading experts, which is not that hard in my opinion. So that's kind of what it is. I call this the Academy based on my level 1 to 4 reality engineering theory. That's the first step. I think that's what we want to build here. I hope you find that interesting. You can go to X. There is the group. It's called Tesla Reality Engineers. I can show you the group here. It's very simple. So we have this little group here. And these are the Tesla engineers stock. We already have a bunch of members since today. And you just apply, you just let us know how many shares you have. It's not public. You just tell me, okay, I have this many shares, and I think I want to specialize, or I am a specialist in technical or fundamental or macro or geopolitics. So we know who's doing what. And then we have these discussions. Whatever comes out of the discussion, I will publish, right, on a video, but the videos are lagging like a few hours or maybe a day. So the advantage of being in the group is, first of all, you are more engaged, use your brain more. You know, you shouldn't just listen to what I'm saying. You should engage in these questions and, you know, use your brain to really work through these topics, because that's how you generate value for us and for yourself, because you become much more firm in your convictions. And because it's why it's reality engineering is because we have to confront ourselves with what we say in the most brutal way, right? If we say it's an up week, we are highly confident, we put on a 4x leverage and Tesla drops 20%, that's very bad. You know, all of us will lose enormous amounts of money. So the reward and punishment is very direct here, which is very good. That's why I call it the level 1 reality engineering exercise. If you make it out alive and you make 600% a year or something, that's not by chance. You have proven that you are a reality engineer, level 1, that you can understand and predict the future accurately, that you have a balanced view of things, that you have your emotions under control, that you're cold-blooded analyzing, looking at multiple dimensions, listening to everyone but believing no one, and making sure you understand what the reality actually will look like. That's the beauty of stock trading and starting this level 1 reality engineering with stock predictions. I also love that we are doing technical trading here, because I'm a contrarian, and most smart people actually believe you can't do that and it never works, which is clearly wrong. Right? There is overwhelming evidence that there is signal in technical trading, but I do believe you need to combine it with all 4 dimensions, or you need to combine technical trading with the other 3 dimensions. Otherwise, you're screwed. You cannot overlook fundamental things. So I hope that was interesting. So hope to see you in that group. The mission for 2025 is that we prove that we are good level 1 engineers, that we can predict, understand, and execute on the future. And if we do that, we will be rewarded very handsomely. So I hope to see you on X, and we will keep you updated, even if you don't join, every week, what we think. See you then.